And welcome back to Mixed Media. We're here for another Tuesday, or Truesday, apparently, is what we're calling it now, according to our Discord, of another Truesday of our favorite things, which is, well, we'll get to them with our introductions. So, my name is Nathan Nestor. I'm a filmmaker and media entrepreneur. I own a company called Ariella, based out of Mount Carmel, Pennsylvania.
Hi, I'm Ben Costello. I'm a flute player and media composer.
And I'm Nathan Nestor. I'm a 3D modeler and video game developer.
So there you go. We three make up Mixed Media, and those are the topics we love to talk about. And that's what this show is about, is talking about some of our favorite things. And you get to join along because this is a live streamed podcast. So if you want to throw in your 2 cents, join the conversation, have a little fun with us. We love to converse with the crowd. It's always fun when that happens. Always the best shows. So definitely drop your comments if you agree, disagree, have any interesting tidbits to add, personal experiences. We're all open to that. Speaking of all those things, you can find a vast plethora of episodes in our vast catalog. You can click on our little logo icon wherever you are, and you'll find, hundreds of segments on anything related to our particular interests. I guarantee you'll learn something. There's probably, a decent amount of our videos where there is no such video anywhere else, on that topic, anywhere else on YouTube, or at least not with the treatments that we've been giving them. So I highly recommend you check that out if you're interested in history, pop culture, the clandestine, and the arts. Whatever your possible interests are, we have an episode about them. So, with that, how are your guys' weeks?
All right. Nothing I can think of too notable. Been kind of setting to work on some choral music. I think I've kind of come to the conclusion I'm going to come up with several works on theme mentioned earlier instead of just one. I think that's probably the way to go. Yeah, I don't know if I want to say different audiences exactly, but slightly different purposes and what I want to do with the different works.
Cool. Yeah, time's a ticking actually. Now that I think about it, do you have like a set of musicians already put together and stuff like this?
No, or? I'm just gonna create the music and then find an opportunity to use it at some point.
Okay. Gotcha.
And yeah, I mean, it's not going to be, anything imminent. I think if anything, if it would be attached to anything, probably with the feast day associated with the saint, which is in October. So I have some time if that is what I intend to do. If I, do something on that day.
Yeah, I was thinking along the lines of the upcoming other feast.
Oh yes, no, that would be if I were trying to do something for that. That would not be good.
Okay, gotcha.
Sweet. In the future, maybe.
Yes.
But
cool. How was your week, Nathan?
That was good. I did an escape room on Thursday for the first time ever, which was pretty interesting. It had me thinking about like video games and like if you tried to make like a video game analogous of it. And I was like, well, it wouldn't really work very well, I feel. And then I realized like I was thinking about the same issues as I talked about in my review of LA Noire. So it's kind of funny. Stuff like, like how would you make it so that the user isn't just spam clicking everywhere to find the evidence, and they're actually like looking through things like, oh, well, you add a bunch of, items that are like red herrings essentially, so that you can't just do that. There's a lot of things you gotta model and gotta, make interactions for and whatever. So yeah, it's interesting because at the escape room, at least the one I went to, I don't know, first one, I don't know how they generally go, but this one, they had these little indicators on all objects that were guaranteed to not like be useful towards the puzzle. And I think part of the reason why was because like well, one of it might have been sort of like a difficulty slider in a way, right? Where it's like, okay, well, just all these things, they're not worth looking at. Another thing is also just, probably to prevent people from like breaking things and like, everyone grabbing everything and, whatever. So for example, so the setting of this one was a comic shop, and so there's a lot of props that are part of the setting, such as a cash register. It's just the cash register though is not like useful toward the puzzle. So there's a little like indicator on it, like, hey, you don't have to like go through it or try to pick it up or anything like that. Just leave it there. It's not useful. It also was not immersive in any sense of the word, which I also thought was interesting. Maybe that's just me. Maybe that's the one I went to. I don't know. But I thought LA Noire was a lot more immersive experience. And I feel like they just weren't really going for that much, I suppose. It was more about like just like, here's a puzzle that's themed, I guess. But and it really felt like I was a member of the comic shop, an employee. I think I was supposed to be, because there is like lore, I guess. They tell you at the beginning, and then as you progress, lore unfolds, I guess. Well, it doesn't make any sense, I guess, is part of the issue maybe as well. It's like why is the code like for this thing here? Like, why did it? Why is the code have to go with the colors of these lights? Like, what? Why would that be a thing? So, but yeah, interesting stuff. That was my week.
Was it worth it?
No, yeah, it was a good experience for sure. It is pricey. It was pricey. So I mean, I don't know if it was worth. I'd say it's worth it because I went with friends. If I were to go like with, I would definitely not go with strangers, even if it's free, probably. Also, would not go alone. It does not seem as fun, but yeah.
Right. Cool. For me, what's going on? I'm still trying to close on the house deal, so that's taking up all my time. And what else is happening? Going through rebranding. Yeah, same stuff as usual. Just chugging along. Nothing too interesting. So yeah, nothing to report. But how about news? And I can go first, actually. Go ahead.
Okay. So Unity released their, I didn't know this was a thing, but I guess they have an annual report. Well, not like an annual like survey type thing, kind of like Stack Overflow's like developer survey. A Unity gaming report, they call it, and they have they have some survey data and some data they got from automatically aggregating it from some of their services that they have. They have at the very beginning, they list 5 trends that are quote unquote shaping game development. And so they have, the first one was AI, and saying that 62% of studios surveyed said they use AI in their workflows, mainly to prototype quickly and for concepting, asset creation, and world building. And then the second thing says that studios are diversifying their revenue approaches, and essentially it says that people are using more ad-based stuff. And then the third thing is that studios of all sizes are shifting to more platforms, saying that multi-platform games between 2021 to 2023 has grown 40% proportionally, while studios with limited resources largely stick to single-platform release strategies in 2022. They built 71% more multi-platform games over the past 2 years. The fourth thing is that devs prioritize multiplayer games despite greater complexity and cost. And it says that in 2023, mobile games with multiplayer features have 40.2% more monthly active users than single-player games, and multiplayer game revenue grew by $2.3 billion, which is a 10% increase. And the last thing is that the industry is building stronger brands by extending engagement. Essentially, it says that people are holding onto their IPs longer and trying to deepen audience engagement, saying that analytics services used to tailor updates to players increased by 44%, while 27% of developers we polled report incorporating user-generated content into their games to invite greater engagement. And then, there's like breakdowns for each of those things. So, like, for example, for like the AI stuff, there's like sections on studios face challenges when adopting new technology. Studios are using AI for creating animation. Most developers have a short window for prototyping, et cetera, et cetera. There's like a bunch of these sections for each of these things that I suppose I can dive into at some point, but I haven't gotten around to it. So, yeah.
Cool. Yeah, very interesting. In fact, as we talk about AI, I want Ben to do some queries related to composition to see if it because Because I'm curious as to whether ChatGPT will conquer the problem from a more coherent perspective or not.
So I'll be honest, I've never actually used ChatGPT, so I have to like create an account, whatever. I assume it's free to use.
Yeah, it's free.
Okay, but the question is like, what do if I just wanted it to give me like notes, like a string of notes, right? Is that what you're asking? The question is, how do what do you have to ask it to give you that? Is it intelligent enough if I say, give me a string of note names? Like,
yeah, you could probably actually if there's a file format, like a MIDI file format that you're aware of that you can play easily, you could probably even get it to write you a MIDI file.
There's ABC notation. Have you heard of that?
That
I
just,
don't know what that is.
I mean, does that? I've never heard it called up, but that's just like Western music notation. I assume like.
Oh, it's. I don't know. I just know that I remember a long time ago I was trying to do something programmatic with music, and I ended up looking into ABC notation. I don't remember what it looks like, but it's some text, like thing that is supposed to translate to music. So, oh yeah.
See, I had to look that up.
Wow, this looks. I don't know what this looks very incomprehensible, but I don't know. Maybe it means something to you. There's a Wikipedia page for it.
I have to look that up here. Let me look this up. ABC is it ABC music notation? ABC.
There's a Wikipedia page. It's called ABC notation, and then there's a section that says example. And you click on that, and you'll see what it looks like. It looks great. I don't know what this like. This looks weird.
Oh. There is something is literally called ABC. The page abcnotation.com. It's a text-based music notation system and the de facto standard for folk and traditional music. Oh, okay, interesting.
Interesting.
I don't know.
Kai says, "Is that one of the LaTeX music scripting thingies?"
So it's like not loading on my phone for some reason. The page abcnotation.com. But if I look at okay, so
to answer Kai's thing, it doesn't look like LaTeX really at all. Although I feel like I do recall there being like a LaTeX or LaTeX like notation.
Oh, I have seen things like this. Okay, I don't know what I've never seen something quite as in depth as this, but like I've seen things of this type. And I don't know what all of these symbols mean exactly, but okay. So yeah, it probably could spit something out like that.
Yeah, it just
if you ask
as long as it's
to,
text, it can at least attempt to spit.
Yeah, I guess the question is, I don't know, like, what do you have to do in order to get it to like give you a result in this format? I guess
you just tell it to do it and hope it does it right.
Okay, so to say, compose a something cinematic, compose like a I don't know, a chase scene, a 30-second chase scene in output in ABC notation.
Yeah.
All right, maybe I'll try that.
Should work.
maybe I'll try this while Nathan and you guys are talking today. We'll see what happens. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Also, to add on to what Kai said about LaTeX, so I was looking it up, and I was looking up to see if like how do you write music in LaTeX, and so apparently you can do ABC notation if you have if you install the ABC package or whatever, you can use that. There's also one I remember now called Lily Pond. That looks more like traditional LaTeX, kind of. So I don't know if I'm looking into Lily Pond as well. There's a different type of
Lily, right? So it's a notation program that is, my understanding. People say it's very good for if you're good at computer programming. Yeah, actually, their page here mentioned the example thing on Wikipedia. It says, for example, the score extension using Lily Pond's. Oh, it gives you what Lily Pond's particular the particular code this is renders this as so. Okay, so if you could, I guess what it means is you can just enter like the ABC notation, and there's a particular code you hit in the Lilliput, and it just transforms it into notation from that.
I see.
Yeah, that should be good. That should be cool. Yes, I'm very curious as to whether it does a better job or not. I've never heard anyone using it for that purpose. That's the main curiosity. Is that I just actually want to know whether it works. Cool. On the film side, in terms of news, a few things I missed last week. Something I knew about that was occupying my mind a lot, but I just forgot to say it, and I feel dumb. But huge news on the camera side: Nikon bought Red, which is one of the biggest corporate shifts in the camera space in a very, very long time. Red being one of two actually, I think I looked this up. Red is the only American cinema camera company, at all. It's the only one, and it's actually relatively new. If you know anything about Red and its history, it was kind of a huge it changed everything. The advent of a Red camera changed everything. They really challenged Ari, being sort of like the cinema standard company in terms of film cameras and eventually digital cameras. Ari is like the thing, that's the company pretty much everyone was using for almost everything. And then Red came along and basically redefined the digital camera specifically and made the first 4K camera, then 8K camera, and they were based out of LA. Which was huge because there's no other camera company of that caliber in the United States. There's a lot of stuff. They were going for a lot of a very trendy sort of marketing strategy to rope in sort of the younger filmmakers, and they did a lot to buy that sort of respect in the field because they weren't even allowed to be used on Netflix for a while. They weren't allowed, but they are. It's like nowadays it's like there's Ari and then there's Red. Those are the two massive cinema camera manufacturers. Except Red is extremely new. I think they came out maybe in 2010 or something. Compared to Ari, which is ancient basically. But those two, you'll ask any filmmaker, what would you use for your next feature film if you had a fully budgeted feature film? They'd either pick a Red camera likely or Ari camera likely as their camera of choice. So Nikon, an ancient name, really ancient name in the world of photography specifically, came out and bought Red. And a lot of people are actually surprised. They're like, how could Nikon afford to buy Red? Because they don't understand equity and how all that stuff works. Red is still very tiny because, oh, go ahead.
I was just going to say, Nikon is a pretty huge global company. There's I think there's probably a much larger market for Nikon products than film people who need a film camera.
Agreed. 100% correct. And so I think a lot of filmmakers don't know anything about Nikon's scale, and also in terms of how, I guess they think, a Red camera is $16,000 or $20,000, or if you get the highest end Red, it's going to be $80,000, $100,000, whatever it is these days. And so they think, high price tag equals, they're making more money than anyone else, which is not how that works at all. So Nikon's got them on volume by an insane number, and plus they've got a very long history with a lot of assets built up and all that kind of stuff. So they bought Red, and that's so big it kind of goes along with the consolidation theme that everything is consolidating. The reason why you can imagine these two companies would consolidate: one, Red is a publicly traded company, not on the big exchanges like NASDAQ or whatever, but their shares are open to be bought publicly, probably through some random exchange, or maybe it's just a contract thing. I don't know. I didn't look into it, but that means that Red was always open to being bought out, right? Like fundamentally, right? Or else they would have not allowed there to be so many outstanding shares that they could get bought, by some foreign entity. At least that's my understanding. There could be some politics in the board and stuff like this. I guess I don't really know. But most likely, they never intended to not allow themselves to get bought out. Because I know a lot of people are angry that this happened, saying it's forced or whatever. It's not forced. I mean, no one forces you to put publicly traded shares out into the public for people to buy, and Nikon just bought them all, basically. So Nikon saying that they really think the ecosystems can merge well. I think that makes sense, but I'm not going to go. Maybe that's an episode for another day. But I think that's true. It's just going to take a long time because they're very different technology streams, basically. Like Nikon's very photography, oriented, and Red is only video. There's no singular photography camera that Red makes. They made a phone once, but not a photo camera.
I remember that. I'm pretty sure it was really bad. It had a really bad. It had like a oddly like not good camera.
Yeah, they used a random Sony camera, like from some like bargain bin.
A Sony camera? Why would they not make their own camera? Isn't that like kind of like the whole draw of a Red phone?
No one really gets it still to this day. It's an enigma. Everyone's like, a cinema camera in my pocket, and that's not what happened. But that's huge. That I can't understate how huge that is. That's so ginormous. And so that's that. And then the only other news is let's see here. Yeah, so I saw this article the other day, and it was some interviews with some executives talking about the depression in the what's it called? Entertainment space, basically, in terms of economic depression in the entertainment space. And I mean, I guess that's kind of the news. Is that things aren't looking well. And I mean, that's not necessarily surprising to anyone. If you understand anything I've said on the show ever, this should be zero surprising to you, because they don't make money off of streaming, and everything is moving to streaming. So that doesn't, that's not a viable strategy, obviously. And there are massive layoffs, basically, at Disney, Warner Brothers, Paramount, NBC Universal, Amazon, MGM Studios, Lionsgate, Netflix, Sony, fifth season, and talent agencies. The biggest, I think one of these is like a really huge one, CAA or UTA, I can't remember. Maybe they're both huge, I don't know. And, quote, bordering on the worst case scenario, particularly as it pertains to TV, which also makes a lot of sense, because how much do you pay per episode when you stream a TV show? You don't pay per episode. So now you're producing like I don't know how long is a season, like 50 hours? I don't know. It depends on the show, I suppose. But, if it's like a long form show like Breaking Bad or something like this, like your season might be like 40, 50 hours long, and they pay the same $10 a month. Someone tell me how this ever made any sense or would ever make any sense. I don't know, but this is where we're going. So, and then all the executives are like, oh my gosh, we're losing our minds. It's like, okay. But of course, they're not going to lose their jobs. They're taking pay cuts, this article says, of a good 20%, a anonymous VP said, which is actually quite significant. I'm not comparing it to layoffs. I'm just saying, in terms of how bad it must be for them to take a 20% haircut to their own pay, it must be pretty bad. So, yeah, I think this is going to continue happening. And hopefully when this falls apart, we'll have like a 90s-esque renaissance in indie film. That's, cross my fingers, indie film and TV. Or we'll be in some crazy dystopia. One or the other. So,
or AI will just be making your films for you.
Yeah, that's a crazy dystopia for sure.
I mean, if you can use AI, why pay real people? You don't have to pay the AI,
Right.
right? Kind of like I know I shared that on our Discord. I have to find it, but the was that I don't remember. It's just a while ago, a couple of weeks ago, or where did I share it? It's on general about the oh, I guess it was a week ago. Yeah, about uh I guess it's Live, LAIVE, the music generating AI,
Mm.
which I don't think it's produced any great results, but their whole model is for several years they've been employing people to, and you can see their whole process. You have like a team of people who um, gives like reference tracks that people were likely to like enter as reference tracks. You have a whole bunch of people who like came up with generic sounding prompts, and then they fed these to like a team of composers who write like 60 seconds of music based on these things, and they made all of this their training data. So they own the copyright to their own training data, essentially.
This sounds like a recipe to generate very generic music.
Yeah, that's what it sounds like to
absolutely.
me.
I'm sure I'm sure you're not gonna get not you're certainly, again, none of these people are Beethoven, right? Even if they're like that talented as a composer, I mean, they're being given like a whole bunch of generic prompts and asked to write 60 seconds of music for it.
Yeah.
Not a recipe for great inspiration. So I don't think the thing is that, like, yeah, I don't think it's supposed to create great stuff or likely to create great stuff, but it's an interesting model where they own their own training data, so we don't have to worry about copyright law cracking down on AI, and they also own the copyright, therefore, apparently, at least according to their terms, of anything that you generate. So it feels like a kind of exploitative model to me. I mean, probably makes sense from like from the corporate like top-down view of things, right? They've avoided some potential legal issues, and they can actually make money off of what they generate. But wow, like, yeah, I hope that's not the way the industry goes, or we'll really have not good stuff coming from AI.
But the thing is, if there's money behind it, people will spend the money to convince people that it's good. Or at the very least, it's the only thing they're listening to so that they can't hear better things, right? And that's how kind of things have been going anyway. And I suspect with AI, it'd be the same. Like, I can imagine a future where there's an animated film that's not animated at all, like in the traditional sense. It's an AI mid-journey created, whatever. And the script is AI generated, the voice acting is AI generated. It's all AI generated. And it's horrible, but it's in the sea of AI generated content that's all free. And so what happens to people is they get desensitized to the bad, and they just think it's good now. It's what happened when stuff went to streaming in general and everything got commoditized. The general quality went down. This is just another step down and another way to make more money.
I think if we go back to like the very first AI roundtable we had, which was a long time ago at this point, that was basically what my argument, that like, maybe it's not great quality, but if that's all we have, it'll seem like okay enough eventually, because what is the alternative, right? Like, do we even remember what it's like to have a human produced 60-second clip of music?
Yeah, exactly.
I don't know.
Exactly.
So
Kai says, yeah, Irving, please stop imagining this future. Your imagination is contagious. Yeah, I'm really sorry, but I don't know. It just is what it it is. What it is. I don't know what else to say. It's bad. It's bad. Yeah, that actually reminded me that there's copyright lawsuits outstanding for image generating ones in particular, which had problems with scraping data from tons and tons of image stock image websites. I don't know what happened to that. So I've got to definitely read up on that because it's been a while since I talked about it. So almost certainly there's been movement in the case, which I'm very interested in because I still don't understand how these companies are able to operate without court orders to stop, especially pending the damage is so irreversible to these other companies. You know, the moment I read like this is a problem with like traversing the website because we don't allow that operation on our website, I'm like, that's kind of hard to like refute. So I haven't read the responses either, so I should definitely go read up on that and come back and let you all know what's going on.
Well, Disney Plus, if you look at their terms of service, definitely does not want you to do anything with their content there in terms of they give you a whole list of things you can't use to like cull data from it.
You know what would be great is if someone did it anyway and Disney sued them to create the precedent, because Disney will be listened to. You know, if they start complaining, they'll be listened to. They've got the fancy lawyers. They've got the money to take it all the way to the Supreme Court if they have to. So it'd be hilarious if someone was ripping stuff off of Disney Plus to train stuff, maybe accidentally or whatever the excuse is, and it goes all the way to Supreme Court, and the Supreme Court says the very common sense thing, which is they say don't do this on the website, don't do it. And if you do it, then you have to remove the stuff from your website that generates from it, and pay reparations to whoever you've stolen basically image data from. So that's my understanding of it now. Maybe it'll change if I read the Shutter. Was it Midjourney that was it was Stable AI, I believe, or Stability AI, whatever they're called. I believe they were the ones being sued. So maybe they have a good response. I don't know, but that'd be hilarious if Disney ended up saving us all from this hellscape.
Am I misremembering, or was Midjourney only coming from copyright-free sources?
I don't know.
I could be misremembering that. I thought that was okay. That was for the case for some AI.
That would have been smart of them. Yeah. 100%. Cool.
Well, I'll just add quickly. The other day, I apologize if my pronunciation of Japanese is not correct entirely, but Shigeichi Negishi died at the age of 100, and he is he's sort of credited as the inventor of the karaoke machine. Although my understanding is that there are several other people who can lay claim to this, who are kind of coming up with the same thing roughly at the same time. Apparently, also, so he was owned a car radio manufacturing plant, and the story is that while working at overseeing the people working at his own factory, he would sing, and some people made fun of his singing, so he decided to invent this thing from his own set of car radios, and apparently another person who also make car radios in Japan, also almost at the same time, came up with a very similar thing. But Negishi, apparently, his version, what he called the Sparko box, in 1967, was the first truly commercially viable and produced somewhat at scale, karaoke thing. And although neither man copyrighted their own invention, so other people made their own things. But yeah, he's kind of generally credited as the inventor of the first commercially viable karaoke machine. So he died the other day at the age of 100. Interesting. I don't know. obviously something that has had a pretty large impact on non-serious musical culture all around the world. I know lots of people love karaoke. Um, so yeah, pretty, a cultural influencer, even if you know, not necessarily on like the level of musical production, right? But something that's influenced the way that people interact with music.
For sure, for sure. Yeah. Sweet. So I think that's our new segment, right? Awesome. And I forgot to give a shout out to four awesome people: Kai, 99 Crime, Post, and Alex Egbert for supporting us at mixedmedia.locals.com. This was our new segment, so don't leave. The next segment following this will be Nathan talking about the FPS tier list that he's going to be making live here on the show. I'm going to attempt to do some things technologically that hopefully will not fail to show you the tier list as he goes along. So stay tuned to that. Get ready to get angry, I guess, at him or something for his wrong opinions or whatever. And that should be fun. So here we go.
Mixed Media Gaming.
All right, welcome to the Mixed Media Podcast Gaming segment. So as I already said in the last segment, I'll be doing a little tier list of FPS games, kind of impromptu. So I kind of I threw something together, but I'm pretty solidly here in terms of like I'm pretty confident this is my list. This makes sense to me. Now there are a lot of FPS games I played. Not include them all because that would take forever. So it was kind of just as I thought of them. I was like, oh yeah, this makes sense. I'll put it on the thing. And yeah. And kind of going through this, there's a lot of games I remembered and a lot of things. Oh, one thing I didn't want to do, I didn't want to include anything that's too niche that no one would understand, no one would know about, because then I'd be like, oh, it might be. I'm trying to, see like. It'd be nice to see, who has similar or opposing opinions, and you can't do that if I'm like, oh yeah, I played, that one game on Congregate.com in 2010. Oh, probably not 2010, 2012 or something like that. That no one knows about. So instead, they're all kind of well known. Some more than others. Some of them definitely, commonly referred to on the podcast. So yeah, Irving will try to put up the stuff as I say them. Now, as you can see on this, I guess I'll try to make sure to dictate everything in case you're on audio only. If you're not on audio only,
call them out so that we're kind of orderly fashion. I can be like, oh, Alien. Oh, I don't even know what it says.
Alien Isolation. Oh no, that's not. Yeah, it is Alien Isolation, probably.
Oh, okay.
But no. So I did not. So if you're watching with video, you'll see there are a lot of games here. I did not rank them all. This is just part of some template. There are way too many games here. I also have not played all of them, so it wouldn't be possible. I have added additional games though that are not on this list that are not on the template that I uploaded myself. So yeah, we'll get a few wild cards in here. A majority of the games here I did not rank. Everything has not scrolled down, but if we did, that you would see there are like actually like a stupid amount of games. So some of them are like so questionably shooters, and I included one of them. So yeah, I don't know what order should we go in. I don't know if bottom to top or like random. Maybe random would be more interesting because you don't know where we're gonna put it.
Then I've gotta like find the game.
You're gonna have to find it regardless because there's so many I skipped because there are like a million of these things.
Okay.
I don't know what order they were in original either, so.
Okay, Kai says random is best, so that's how we're gonna do it. Random,
okay, we'll do random. All right. Well, we'll start off with we'll start with Battlefield 3 because Irving knows this game. So I'm gonna ask Irving, what do you think I'm gonna put this in the tier list? I'm saying that so I guess. It's hard for I would say this is if you're on audio only, this is a S to D tier list. S, A, B, C, D, where S is the best and D is the worst. So I'm kind of considering these like stars, like 5 stars, more or less. I'd say that I bumped up the minimum from like I guess the 1 star is probably more where a 2 star would be, I'd say, and the 5 star is probably more of a 4 star. It's more compressed, I guess, is what I'm saying. It's more compressed than towards a 3, I guess, than that I would in a normal 5 star system. So yeah.
Hold on, I'm gonna reload the page because it's not responding. So that's a good start.
Oh yeah. Well, Kakairo says, I don't know enough about shooters to do that. Because he said before that, he said, random gives us the most opportunity to get on you for bad takes.
Right.
We'll see,
Okay,
we'll
here
see.
we go. I'm good.
There are definitely a lot of takes here that are questionable. So, yeah, Battlefield 3, where do you think I'm putting it?
Me?
Oh, yeah.
Battlefield 3. It's so relative to like everything else. I
suppose as the list goes on, maybe it'll be more clear, like, where things
Exactly.
lie. But what do you think off the start?
A tier?
That's actually correct. Wow.
Ooh, okay, A tier.
Yeah, so
Nice.
there are a lot of Battlefield games. Well, yeah, there are a lot of Battlefield games, in fact. So 3 of them appear on this list. 4 of them appear on this list. And in various spots. so that'll be kind of interesting. I also wanted to kind of compare games and similar games or games in the same series. So that'll be kind of interesting to see how things progressed. Battlefield 3, I would say, is a very okay, and it's an A, but it's a normal Battlefield. It's very I say it's above average, but it's nothing crazy. It's not a crazy, whatever. I will say that I do enjoy it for its sort of revolution in technology. I mentioned this a million times before, so I'm not gonna say it again. But it's graphically incredibly good. Made 12 years ago or something like that. Looks like it could have came out today. So yeah. Also, massive maps, large amounts of players, things that certain developers have issues with implementing today. They did that 12 years ago or 11, something like that. So. Yeah, there you go. Right. Maybe we should just do the whole Battlefield series. Not the whole Battlefield, all the ones I've played, I guess. So, sure, let's do Battlefield 4, the next one in the series.
Okay.
Where do you think I'm putting that?
B.
Yeah, what the heck?
Oh,
So,
I'm in your
4,
mind.
Battlefield 4, yeah, it's Battlefield 3, but worse, basically. They're not even that different of games, honestly. It was very buggy at launch.
What about Levolution?
Revolution is cool, but I don't think it was worth the trade-off. I like the maps are cool too. I think thematically it's kind of cool. I think it's very very good art direction and stuff like that. But no, it doesn't compare. It doesn't compare. It's hard to the leap from the leap to 3. I mean, it went from Battlefield Bad Company 2 to 3, right? Bad Company 2, obviously, known as a really good game, to 3.
Well, let's rank that next.
All right, let's do it.
Alrighty.
Bad Company 2. What do you think?
A tier.
No.
Oh, what is it?
It's S tier.
Okay,
S tier.
I was like, it's either A or S. It's got to be.
The first S tier. Yeah, from Battlefield Company 2, it was interesting because, technically the game got worse, in my opinion. But it was just different, though. It wasn't it's the same thing, but it's worse. It's it's different. It's worse, but it's sufficiently different from Battlefield Company 2. It still feels like it does something new really well, Battlefield 4 doesn't feel like it's doing something new really well. It feels like it's doing the same thing, just worse, That's what I feel like about it. I don't know. What do you think about that?
I agree with your list so far, so yeah.
Yeah. All right. And the last Battlefield on the list, Battlefield Hardline.
Where's
I think this is a
It's
lot.
right here.
This is a lot more of a where I think this is a lot harder to pinpoint. I think people's general take on it is a lot more spread out and not even it's not even love it or hate it. It's kind of a very what do you call that? A Gaussian curve with a large standard deviation. Yeah, that's what I'm gonna say. A wide bell curve. Yeah, what are you thinking?
I'm going to say low B tier. I don't know how else to put it.
Yeah, B tier as well. Is it worse than Battlefield 4? And those might be a hot take. I don't know. I liked it thematically. I like the change. It was a new thing. It would have been worse than 3 and Battlefield Company 2. but it's trying to do something new. It was kind of cool. The smaller scale nature of it, and the ridiculous thematic nature of it. But it's kind of cool to see like a non this is America versus Russia again. Like very.
Remember when they tried to
people.
put the Chinese in the game for like 2 seconds and then
Did they remove them?
I don't remember. It was like in one of the games for like
that was back in '4. Yeah, there was China, Russia, and the United States.
We love the Americanist.
Back in '4 was banned in China for that reason, because they say that they portrayed China poorly. Although I don't know, maybe in the campaign, but at least in multiplayer, who plays the campaign first off? in multiplayer, it's the same thing. Like no matter what side you're on, it feels the same. It's the same thing. So yeah. Right. So it's Hardline. What do you think about Hardline, Irving?
I thought it was super fun, and the player base died.
Yeah, that's true. That is like that's what Hardline is like.
Did it cost less?
Living game. Cost less? Oh, to buy it? You mean?
Yeah. Or am I tripping?
I don't remember.
I feel like you couldn't charge as much for it. I feel like it was a smaller like endeavor. It was kind of like a interesting like sub AAA sort of thing.
I believe that.
Which I do like, and I don't think you should charge as much for it. But
yeah. And by the way, Ben posted his little music endeavor with AI generated music we talked about in the last segment. So if you're not on the Discord, now's your chance. You can't see it otherwise. You cannot see it.
Yeah.
Not show up on the stream.
It about 1 second. It gave me what it calls as a 60-second waltz melody in ABC notation, and it's in ABC notation. Well, not quite. But it's like not that I fully know what ABC notation is, but it's just like it's giving me. It's got like from what I understand from reading the Wikipedia article, it's got most of the parameters, but instead of like designating octave or anything by capital or not letter, it just says like G2, E2, 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 and also pretty much every single measure is one note. Except for the very last measure. Very last measure has 2 notes. So, you know what? I'm gonna see if I can like figure out what this actually means. And I'll enter into music software program, and it won't probably take me very long. It's like 6 measures. Like how many measures is that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. It's 15 measures, which is also Ox's 15 measures, but okay. It'll take me like once I figure out what it means, it'll take me like 10 minutes maybe, and I will spit it back out and see what it produces. So
it's very avant-garde. That first measure is 1 note, and that last one is 2.
Well, it's a pickup note.
Yeah, but I have a feeling that
makes
not her artistic
sense.
style.
No, that makes sense. Hey, it has the right meter. So it's in 3/4. So
yeah.
What does the L18 mean?
Yeah, so I have to go back to the Wikipedia article to tells you what all those things are. The X is the file name. T is the X is the title. T is the time signature. M is the default note length. L is the type of tune.
Wrong already.
L is the. Oh no, sorry. Is it? Maybe the way Wikipedia is listing this is odd, so I have to look at it. So I guess X is the file. T is the title. 60-second waltz. M is the time signature. L is the default note length. R is the type of tune, and it doesn't have that. And K is the key. What key? Since we're in C, which is a little odd because we end on a G, but okay. Alright, so I'm not sure it understands keys. Yeah, so then I guess it's weird because then it just gives me, instead of yeah, I guess instead of right, okay, I don't, so I don't know. I guess these two, we'll just assume that is the octave.
Okay.
So okay, we'll just assume that's what that means. It's not really what, doesn't actually mean anything in real ABC notation, but we'll assume that it's an octave notation. So I will give you like 10 minutes, and then we'll produce this thing. This is
All
cool.
right.
So stay
Sounds
tuned.
good.
Stay tuned.
Although I feel like we prematurely got Irving's answer of whether it'd be good or not. So, so we'll see though. All right. So yeah, join the Discord if you haven't already. You can see images in the chat. You'll see exactly what was spit out. So yeah. All right. So we'll check back in 10 minutes, I suppose. So yeah, Hardline. Hardline. Oh, yeah, I think we finished that part. Hardline is good. Yeah, maybe controversial take. I don't really know. Next game on the list. Oh, I should on my list. I should order them so I know what I did already. Yeah. Okay. We'll go. That was a throwback. Blacklight Retribution.
Oh wow, yeah, that is a throwback.
That one is probably the most neat. Oh, that one I added. So if you didn't add that, you might have to add that. Yeah.
Let me go to it. Oh no. Okay, there we go.
So if you don't know, I'll explain, because that's probably the most niche game on this list, I would think. Blacklight Retribution was a game that, when did it come out? I can check. Blacklight Retribution was a interesting concept for a fairly simple shooter, I suppose, that had an interesting I don't know, call it gimmick to it. I don't know, where you could enable essentially wall hacks randomly, kind of. Yet everyone had the ability to see through walls, see enemies through walls for a temporary period of time. It came out in 2012. So here's a little blurb. Well, I'm not going to read that entire thing. Probably not. Take firefights to a futuristic new level in Blacklight Retribution, a free-to-play FPS. I forgot it was free, actually. See through walls with the HRV, deploy mechanized hardsuits, and customize your weapons to dominate the opposition. In Blacklight, mastering the futuristic tech is half the victory. You need to carefully balance your loadout, from the extreme customization possible to designing your firearms to the equipment you carry and the in-match bonuses you unlock. The Hyper Reality Visor, HRV, allows you to look through walls and spot enemies and attack from where they aren't expecting. But be careful, because you're vulnerable while using it. The other half of victory, raw skill, same as it's always been. Good hunting. And then it cuts out. Okay, cool. So that's the general premise. You have a Hyper Reality Visor that lets you see through walls for a temporary period of time. Everyone has this ability. It's very strange. I don't know. Like on paper, that sounds like an absolutely horrible idea. I don't know who thought about that one. It was like, yeah, what if you could just randomly see through walls? I would be like, that sounds awful. I would say it turned out better than I thought it would be. It sounds, in my opinion, at least. Yeah, what do you think about this, Irving? I know you played it as well.
I played it so briefly. I don't know. Maybe I'm gonna say C or B tier.
Yeah, lock in.
I'm gonna say C tier.
This is a tough one. I did put it in B tier. This
Okay.
is a low B though. It's a low B.
You don't
I
have
think
an
a lot
F
of-
tier. I just noticed.
There is no F tier. I really have to compress the the listing. So that's why we have the. I already described four different four different sort of. I've tiered the B's already, right? With between Battlefield 4 Hardline and Blacklight Retribution. So there's that.
I just
Yeah.
made you an F tier.
Oh, that's going to change things. Interesting. All right. Well, okay. Next game. Let's go Valorant. It's right on the list. Well-known one. I don't really have to explain. Is Valorant. I have mentioned it on the podcast before, so you may be able to get some a hint about where that might be. What are the predictions?
Is it gonna be an A tier?
No, not even
No.
close.
Did I forget what your opinions were? I guess I forgot your opinions on it.
Well, you like to take another shot?
Is it F tier?
Yeah. It's F tier alone, and maybe with one friend. It becomes C tier or D tier, maybe with more friends. In which case, it's like the friend aspect is like really all the good part of it. It's just talking with whoever. Valorant is not a good game in my opinion.
Okay.
Maybe like an episode about why I think it's a bad game. That's a pretty hot take, I think. F tier is, I guess, kind of crazy for that, but I'll give it a high F though. A high F to be clear. It's not a low F. It's not the worst it can get. It's just not great. I think the game is intrinsically flawed in its nature. I think that like it literally is a bad idea at its core. Yeah, I think I'll do an episode on that. Someone remind me, I guess, at some point. I'll leave it to that. You have to subscribe to find out why I don't like it more. So there you go. Next, we have kind of related. We have Counter-Strike Global Offensive.
Okay, where is that on this list?
I think it's in ABC order, right? Is it in ABC order, or is it not? It might not be actually. I don't think it is.
I don't think so.
No.
Pain.
I don't know where I got it from. Well, so Counter-Strike's logo is like orange and black. The left side is black, the right side is orange. That helps you scan quickly, Wait, did I say that right? Left side's black, right side's orange. That's what I meant, if I didn't say that. So, Counter-Strike is the game that I still have, I think, the third most hours ever, and I haven't consistently played it in years. I've played that game a lot back in the day. At least on Steam. There are games that I didn't play on Steam that probably actually have more hours than maybe anything I have on Steam. Still, even though I don't play them. I did play Counter-Strike a lot. I played it, I think it must have been middle school and maybe some of high school I played it. That was actually never bought the game. So this is back when Counter-Strike Global Offensive is now free. But it wasn't free always, right? At the time it wasn't free, and actually someone bought it for me. Like they kept saying, "Get Counter-Strike," and I was like, "No." And eventually, like after many iterations of it, they just bought it for me. So
wow.
that's what happened. And I reluctantly accepted. I was like, "There's no way. I'm not gonna play this." And then a couple hundred hours later, that was a life-changing purchase, I guess. So, yeah. I have talked about it. C tier. Where did I even put it? This is a hard one. This is such a hard one because it kind of has Valorant syndrome, where it's like, okay, the game itself not the greatest. With friends, a lot better, but the mods, though, the modded maps, the workshop, it actually goes in A tier, which I know is like revolutionary for me to say about Counter-Strike. I don't even play it anymore. It's a very, it's a very weird game for me. I will never play, I don't play ranked. I'll never play ranked. That is, that just sounds awful. But I do remember very vividly, one of my core memories, I guess, as a gamer, is when the R8 came out. The R8 is a revolver and Counter-Strike Global Offensive didn't get updates often, right? It's kind of a rare thing. New weapons, even rarer, right? So they released this R8 revolver. If you don't know, the way Counter-Strike works is you go into the game with a loadout. There's not much you can change with the loadout. Like some weapons, you have a collection of weapons that you can buy in the round, right? And you can swap some of them out. There's only a couple of things you can swap out. It's nothing crazy. One of them, they used to have the Desert. Well, they still have the Desert Eagle, right? And you couldn't swap that out for anything. That was just the only thing. Then they added the R8, which is a revolver. Desert Eagle was able to one-shot people if you hit them with a headshot, or I don't remember how many shots it was to the body, but it was a big damage dealer. And they added the R8, which was interesting. It worked really weirdly, and it made no sense. So it was a revolver. I forget what you call these. The revolvers where you have to manually cycle the bullet in every single time. You know what I'm talking about?
Oh yeah.
I forget what that's called, but it was one of those, and I think that was the idea. That was the idea, because if you left clicked, you have to hold to fire. So you left click, it doesn't immediately fire. You have to hold to fire, I guess, as a aiming thing or something, and then to be 100% accurate, basically. and he did a lot of damage. Less than the Deagle, but a lot of damage regardless. I think it might have used to be a one-shot to the headshot. I remember they nerfed it immediately, like pretty soon after, a few days later. But if you right-clicked, you would go into fanning mode. You don't know, fanning on a revolver is like when you like kind of like hover your hand over the hammer so that you can immediately like cycle the next bullet in really fast. Obviously, this means you only have one hand on the revolver, which is very inaccurate. So the idea was that when you right-clicked, it would do this inaccurate fire that would be really fast at shooting. You don't have to hold it or anything like that. The fact that to hold it with left click is very strange. It made no sense. But I guess it's all for the purpose of like fanning and stuff like that. Anyways, that was a core memory for me. I guess I'm playing on this like workshop map that was like a Wild West map and stuff like that. It was good. It was a good time. So I do have it in an A tier. Do I think that like the core game is great? Not particularly. I think it actually has many of the same issues as Valorant, unsurprisingly. Do I think there's a lot there in terms of the whole community of people who make workshop stuff? Yeah, I mean, there's a lot there. Private matches are always fun and stuff like that. So, yeah, it is A tier, kind of surprisingly. Yeah, that's where I have it at. And out of the 126 games I played on Steam, 285 lists. Okay, it is currently my 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7th most played Steam game now. It's kind of crazy. I last played it in 2023, and I probably played it like one time, and then it's probably been a couple years before that. Yeah, that's that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we got to keep it moving because we got a lot of games to get through.
Oh yeah, sorry, yeah. Well, all right, let's do some real quick that are kind of not gonna talk too much about. So, Super Hot. I don't know if you can find that. It's red, or sorry, it's black.
I found it.
Like, okay, yeah. That is actually an S tier game in my opinion. I played Super Hot when it was a demo, back when it was like a browser game demo thing. Very fun, very good concept, and I also played it in VR as well, like very briefly. Really good concept, really good execution, good style. Everything's just like generally good, you know. Is it a 5-star game? No, but I kind of compressed this list, so it's S tier here, you know. Yeah. Next one, a little bit weird. Portal 2 is listed on this list. I thought it was funny.
Wait, what? How is Portal 2 an FPS?
Well, you're in first person and you are shooting portals, so it is a first person shooter of sorts.
That might be the hottest take so far.
Yeah, that's an FPS. That did you find it?
Yeah.
Okay, that is also S tier actually. Really good game, really good puzzling for entirely different reasons than anything on this list is here. For I thought I mentioned that very briefly because not really following the proper theme of this episode, but that's kind of funny that I consider it a first-person shooter. I suppose it is. All right, Overwatch. Do you have a prediction on that one? I don't think you've played. You haven't played Overwatch, right?
No.
I don't think I've talked about it enough to have the really good data on it. I definitely have mentioned it many times. Kikairo says, now that I know Portal is there, I have to ask if Fallout 3 and New Vegas are available for ranking. They are on the tier list. Not on my tier list. They're on the template. You could put them in, but I did not put them in, personally. Although, I mean, I would say they're definitely in the first-person shooter genre. Like, yeah, they're like, you know, they're RPGs and, like, it's not always first-person. You can, I forget what that's called, where you, like, go into, like, the third-person mode and, like, pick points you want to aim at or whatever. But you do that too. But no, it's thoroughly an FPS for sure. Any luck with Overwatch?
No, I have no idea where it is.
All right, I'll continue, I guess. So I would say Overwatch, definitely hot take here. C tier. It's crazy, I know. Why? For me, I find that it is. I don't have the energy to keep up. Okay. I sound like an old man here, but it demands constantly paying attention and like constantly like I don't know, like moving your mouse at 1,000,000 miles per hour. I know that I just put CS:GO in A tier, which is like definitely a sort of tense game, you know, where you always have to be paying attention and always, you know, be ready to react. But it's a lot of downtime for sure in CS:GO. Like, you know, when you die, for example, there's tons of downtime when you're waiting for the round to end. There's tons of downtime when you're moving to your initial location where you kind of know the enemies are, or you're rotating and you know that there's no enemies around. But Overwatch feels like a lot of just like, man, kids these days have a lot of energy, man. I don't know.
Kids
I
these days.
I can't keep up. So
I have no
that's why
idea where this Overwatch thing is.
it's like it's a lot of color. So it's mostly white with like a little bit of like orange and black, I guess, and gray. Like I don't know. Let me see if I can see it on the. I don't even see it on the stream. Did I import? No, I didn't import this. I'm pretty sure it was just there. I don't know. Well, it's somewhere.
We'll place it at the end if we find it again.
Sure. Yeah. Now, to mention a related game, Paladins. I think a spicy take here. Paladins, I mentioned this before. It's like it's made by Hi-Rez, so it's like essentially like, hey, it's a game that existed already. We kind of just tried to make a rendition of it real quickly. Oh, and before I forget, I did see Kekaros in a few chats. He said, "See, those I feel like a bigger stretch than Portal. They're more like RPGs in an FPS's body." Sure. I mean, I don't know. I don't really think of like RPGs and FPSs as like exclusive in any way. Like it could just be both, Like if there's like a puzzling shooter, I would say that's like the issue with Portal is not like that it's a puzzle game. It's that you're not like attacking people or anything. You're just making portals for the most part. There are like those sentries and whatever, but you're just making portals. I feel like that's kind of where like you're not being tested on the same things. You're not being tested on aim or reaction time. Usually, it's definitely not the biggest part of it. So yeah, that's why I feel like it doesn't really feel like an FPS. Karos also says, if I recall correctly, back in the day, a family member described it as Team Fortress with waifus or something. Which game were we talking about? Oh, Overwatch. I was like, Portal? I was confused. Okay. I almost put Team Fortress on the list, but I didn't put it there because I haven't played it enough. But I also haven't played it in a long time. People compare Paladins, Team Fortress, and Overwatch all the time. It needs to stop. Team Fortress is so different. It's so different. Overwatch and Paladins also pretty different in my opinion, but I get it more. But playing them all, I feel like before I played Overwatch, it's like, oh, it's very similar. And I played, I was like, oh no, it's pretty different actually. Team Fortress 2 is an entirely different ball game. Yes, they're both hero shooters. I don't know, like that doesn't mean like they're that similar though. I don't know. Yeah, and KK did confirm that he's talking about Overwatch. So yeah, no, I would not say it's Team Fortress like. It is a hero shooter of sorts. So it's a hot take. Paladins. Paladins is A tier in my opinion. Definitely hot take. 100% hot take. It is my fourth most played game on Steam. Now, why is there such a discrepancy between Overwatch and Paladins? I know I just said they're not that similar, of course, but if people put them in the same ballpark, right? Why don't I do that, right? So Paladins is definitely a lot slower. It does not feel like I'm like dying trying to play the game. Everything is slower. It feels like I'm playing slow motion
Overwatch. Okay, that
nice.
goes in C tier, right?
Yep.
Okay.
So Paladins has, I think, a lot more interesting heroes, a lot more interesting abilities. I feel like they've kind of, like, in recent times, dropped the ball on that, and a lot of the newer characters just aren't that interesting. But the idea of, like, for example, like Atlas, who can rewind time for you or himself, that's kind of a cool thing, in my opinion, Or Torvald, who's, I feel like when Torvald came out, and I remember his, like, his ult, that like just blasts you away. Very simple, but I don't know. It's not like it's not like a very archetypical thing you see. It's not like teleportation. We've seen that everywhere. Well, like a dash. We've seen that everywhere. Okay, that's not new. But even like kind of like simple things, you're like, oh, I guess I never really thought about that before. Because not many other games have this. So that's I think it's a pretty well variety. Feels pretty well balanced for a game with that many characters. Yeah, there are definitely characters that are weaker than other ones, definitely characters that are stronger than other ones. But for that, as many characters as it has, which are a lot, and they're still adding them, even if fairly slowly, it's not horribly balanced, which is surprising. And And yeah, so there's that. Next on the list, we have. Let's go Verdun.
Okay.
Verdun. Yeah, I guess Irving. Oh, you haven't played Verdun, have you? Oh, you have played. Have you?
I've watched you play Verdun for like an hour. I don't know.
Oh, okay. Verdun is actually probably lots of hot takes here. It's S tier, okay? And I'm saying
Ooh, that's
what's
a
going
huge
on
hot
here?
take right there.
That is a big hot take. What is this indie game in my my S tier? What's going on? This 3 developer game, this former browser game. How is it S tier? Quite frankly, it is simple and good. That is it. It's very simple. But not trivially simple. It's not like like a Warface simple or like a a Black Squad simple. No, it's not like the stock standard FPS. It's not like they took a bunch of Unity FPS assets and put them all together and release that. They actually put a lot of effort and care into a unique game, World War One themed, not normal. They did it before Battlefield 1. It's a very very rare theme to see for some reason. They took really low TTKs to the extreme, but it still feels somewhat arcadey. It's not like an Insurgency where it's like Insurgency is not arcadey at all. Verdun is a weird mixture of like it's kind of like you can kind of run around and do weird things, but it's also like one shot kills everything almost certainly. It's a very weird juxtaposition, but I think it works out very well. Nowadays the game is more or less dead, mostly dead, and I believe there are a lot of cheaters on, so that's not good. But back in the day, this was an S tier game for sure. And related to that, we have the 3rd game in the World War One game series, Isonzo. Irving has played this because he played with me. So, what do you think of playing this?
One, I'm still struggling to find Verdun.
Oh, wait, that's the one I added. So, same with Isonzo, so it should be at the bottom.
Why aren't these? Yeah, I remember Isonzo being there too, but I don't see it. I'm going to re-add it and see what happens.
Yeah.
Let's see here. Yeah, for some reason I don't see these in there, even though Valorant came in and everything.
Well, okay.
So Verdun is S tier, and Isonzo I'm gonna say is A tier.
Yeah, A tier.
Okay.
I did put it a little bit lower. I think that there's a lot of cool a lot of cool stuff that they added. I think that the thematically is cool. Once again, like we went to World War One, which is already weird. They went to Italy. Really weird. So Verdun takes place on the Western Front. The French, the German, the German front, I suppose. Yeah, German front of things. And then because I think because you can play as France, Germany, Austria, Hungary, but I feel like usually the maps don't take place in Germany, which is kind of weird. But I don't know. Given that the 2 other no, it's in Verdun, which is in France. Okay, yeah, it is the yeah. So you can play as these countries where all the battles take place on the border of France or in France or something like that. I don't know. It's on the Western Front. Okay, and then Isonzo is on the Italian front. So Italy and Germany. So that's a pretty unique thing to see in a World War One game. I think that the thing I can't really get past are the amount of artillery. Okay, the amount of times I'm just running around and I randomly die, and I'm like, how am I supposed to prevent that?
Duck into cover.
But the time window of like hearing it to it landing is like nothing. There could just be no cover near you. Like that's very possible. So that was a thing in Verdun as well. But I think it's taken to a little bit more of an extreme in Isonzo. So that part does bother me quite a bit. Otherwise, very solid game.
Looks great too and performs amazing.
Yeah, it does look great. I will say Verdun did not perform amazing. Verdun performed very poorly, so they at least stepped up their game there. Okay, a few more quick ones. So PlanetSide 2, that I added. That was not. Well, no, sorry, that was on the list originally. Yes, PlanetSide 2 was on the list originally. There's another throwback that I think people will know more than Black Knight Retribution at least. PlanetSide 2 is a really interesting concept. It is, what if you had really big maps? I'm not talking about Battlefield. We're talking about like quote unquote planet-sized maps, right? Not literally planet-sized, but absolutely massive. I wonder what the let's see, PlanetSide 2 max player count. I don't know how many players this thing can hold, but 1,158.
Wow.
Oh, that was that was their Guinness World Record for most players in an online FPS battle. Battle, or like does that mean one actual specific battle, or we're talking about like the whole, the whole map? Because the map is so big that there are many battles within the map, kind of, right? They're not like officially designated, right? Because there's no maps like that, But yeah, it's kind of a crazy concept, and they pulled it off. Now, the game looks really bad. I will say that. Well, they pulled off 1,000 players. I don't know if they pulled off a great game necessarily. There's a lot of cool stuff. They had the originally 3 factions. They added one later, but they had the Von Republic, the New Conglomerate, I think. Right? No, New Camaraderie or New Conglomerate? I forget.
I think you're right. New Conglomerate.
Okay, and then the I think Tehran Republic. Maybe.
I don't remember.
Isn't Tehran the place in Iran?
Yeah, I don't think it's that. That's all I. That's all I know.
What is it called? PlanetSide 2 factions. Yeah, maybe not. Maybe not the Tehran Republic. Oh no, it is the Tehran Republic.
Wow, it's
spelled differently.
Okay.
I was right. And yeah, New Conglomerate, Banu Sovereignty. That's what it was. And they added the Nanite Systems Operative, which like acted like some weird like thing that could be part of other factions. I don't know, but yeah, it was interesting to see a balance of like Tehran Republic had the best vehicles. The New Conglomerate had the best infantry, and the Banu Sovereignty had like increased technology and stuff like that. Yeah, it was a super cool concept. And the execution, not great. The game looked really bad. It was very glitchy at times. Certain patches, I guess, would just break things, and people would be teleporting, and netcode, not great apparently. Or maybe it was really good, but 1,000 players is hard. so it was not good enough, apparently. Still waiting on PlanetSide 3 for sure. But I will say, what do you think I'm putting it at, everything?
Honestly, that game disappointed me a lot, so I'd be tempted to put it in C or honestly F tier.
Wow. I put it in C tier for sure. I think it's solidly in C tier. I wouldn't say low C tier, just C tier. Straight up. Yeah. Very promising. The execution, not the greatest. I appreciate the attempt for sure. It was definitely like kind of crazy what they were able to do regardless, but it doesn't mean that it ended up being the most enjoyable experience ever. So, yeah, the battles, like, the potential was good. It had the potential to be one of those like Battlefield like epic games, like, oh my gosh, like spontaneously as a battle like forming around me, of like so many players, and like it's very free flowing or whatever, but unfortunately it was just below average. So yeah. Yeah, and going on to the next one, let's do Apex Legends. I know that I already did a ranking of battle royales, and this is the first and only battle royale on this list, actually. Not for any particular reason, I guess. It just came to mind, so I put it. It was on the template already, so Apex Legends. Apex Legends has a mostly red.
Yeah, I think I found it.
Okay, yeah. So Apex Legends is okay. I am rating it as it is now, not as it was in its peak. And I should say that I suppose I didn't actually always follow that, because would be lower now, I think. But because there's not many players. But so maybe there's inconsistency there. Apex Legends, I am rating at its current point, where they have removed the 3 versus 3 mode. And I think I mentioned this in my Battle Royale rankings, I do not like Battle Royales. so not very much. I think it's an intrinsically flawed genre, and I think the peak you can get is like not great. No, I shouldn't say I don't like them at all. Like, I'll play them, right? I'm just saying that as far as genres go, It's not looking too good, in my opinion. When they got rid of the 3v3 mode, which technically was a battle royale, but it was a small scale one, and it fixed a lot of the issues that I had with battle royale. So I suppose that it's not necessarily that battle royales are bad themselves. I think large scale battle royales are bad. And when I say they're bad, I don't mean that they're all bad. I mean that, relatively speaking, they're not great typically. So Apex Legends unfortunately goes to C tier. If they had 3v3 mode, it'd be B tier for sure. But it is a C tier game because they got rid of 3v3 mode and it's a large scale battle royale once again. So.
Oh no! It locked up on me. Don't do this.
Oh.
Don't do this. All right, continue talking. I'll see if I can find those.
All right, so that's Apex Legends, and I guess a couple more left to go. Not almost done. So I will speedrun this because we were kind of going a little bit late, I guess. So there is Insurgency. Everything's played Insurgency with me extensively, actually. What do you think of playing that game?
I'm gonna say either A or B tier.
Yes, I put it. Actually, no. I put it at S tier. Now remember, it's a compressed list, so it's not one of the games. Currently, I don't think I've said a single game in S tier as a 5-star game for me. But just to keep that in mind. But I did put it in S tier. Insurgency, I think, is like just really like. It's like there's like you try to think about the criticisms of Insurgency. It's hard. It's hard to really think of like what could they have done better. Or what did they do wrong? I suppose it's like there's nothing really that like comes out of me like, oh, that really bothers me or whatever, right? It's like it's mostly just really solid, really good execution of the game idea. It's a realistic. It's a low TTK tactical shooter that takes place in like a Middle Eastern setting. It's a good map variety, and I don't know. It's just solid. It's really, I don't know. It feels like they really just like had an idea and they just did it so well. So that is Insurgency, to keep it brief. Then we also have Killing Floor 2. Good luck finding this one.
I thought I saw that like on near the top.
Oh, you
Let me see here. Oh no, it's Kill Zone. Never mind.
Oh yeah, it's Killing Floor 1 as well, so you can find that one. It's probably next to it. Killing Floor 2 is a horror-ish FPS game. I don't know what I consider a horror per se. It's like a zombie. It's a zombies game. It's a zombie survival, a zombie wave type game thing. I'm gonna keep it brief. I put it in F tier, or I put it in D tier, I suppose. Killing Floor 2 was kind of like, I feel like people hyped it up to me. Maybe that's kind of why I I don't like it that much, because I don't know. I just I thought it was really boring. I think
is 2 the one with the caution symbol on it, or
no? I don't see the caution symbol on it. It's very like it's gonna be hard to the title's hard to see. Like it's hard to see what's happening in the image. I send you a screenshot on Discord of what you're supposed to be looking for.
Okay. Well, can you rank Killing Floor real quick while I have it?
Oh no, it is D. It is D.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
So.
I mean F.
Yeah. Or F, sure. Yes. I sent an image of what it should look like. So good luck.
Okay.
But. Wow. Yeah, I thought it was very, very boring. Moving on, there is also. Did I say Dirty Bomb already? Did we do that one?
No, you haven't done that yet.
I haven't done that one. I should have done that with Paladins and Overwatch, because people will also make comparisons, which is absolutely insane. Because also a hero-based shooter. So Dirty, it was a very different one. Very, very like even more different than Paladins and Overwatch and Team Fortress 2. That one is you cannot compare. It is thoroughly in a different camp. It's just. In my opinion, there's so little that is similar. Yeah, what do you think I put that?
A tier.
A tier. That's definitely a hot take. 100%. That is actually fifth most played game on Steam, right after Paladins and right before Counter-Strike 2. So right in between them. Dirty Bomb, I think it was like actually a really great game that suffered from many balancing issues for sure. If someone was really good with certain characters, they would just dominate 100%. I think that the concept was very unique, and we're all waiting on Dirty Bomb 2. All of us. It was there was definitely a cult following for sure. I remember it was bought by a poultry company, if I recall correctly. Most random thing I've ever seen in my life. But yeah, very I don't know, very like well themed as well. Well stylized for sure. Lots of variety in characters. Not the most unique abilities in the world for sure, but nothing super basic either. Kind of just all right, I guess. So yeah, that is Dirty Bomb. To keep it brief, once again.
Really quick, where does Insurgency, the other one, go?
Insurgency is S.
No, the other
Maybe
one.
Sandstorm?
Yeah.
Oh, I have not played Sandstorm yet, so.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Wait. You have Sandstorm on here.
No, that's just a template. That's just a template.
What?
Huh? I didn't rank all those games.
Oh, okay. I
There's
thought
a
we had
lot
to
of
get through
games.
all of these.
Oh, no, we'd be here forever.
Oh, okay. That's why I'm like, oh my gosh, how's this gonna happen? Okay.
No, this is part of a template, right? And the template just has a bunch of FPSs, but doesn't have all of them that I thought of, so I just added some myself.
Right.
No, I've not played all these FPS games. That'd be kind of insane. There are a lot of them. Just to play them all for any reasonable amount of time would be crazy. So
I feel like half of this show has been me struggle busing through actually making the tier list.
Yeah.
This has been
So-
pain.
Yeah. Right. So, yeah, Insurgency. And yeah, we're getting to our final one. So there is... What have I not said already? Apex, Planet 2, Battlefield, Strike. Oh, we have one more. Oh, we're almost done. We have Battlefront 2. I'm pretty sure it is known where I stand on this, I think. I think I did a proper review of this game. I think.
Yeah, you did.
It's probably a very long time ago, I think, at this point. It probably showed up in my ranking of like my backlogged sort of like thing. Do you remember where I put it? Like,
I don't remember, but I'm gonna guess either B or A tier.
you're off. You're off.
Oh,
This is the hottest take. This is probably the hottest take on this list for sure. This is the strangest take.
F?
But no.
Okay. There's only two other options left. C or S tier.
Yes.
So which one?
It is in fact S tier. The take was so hot
Wow.
you couldn't even get it. Now,
Okay.
you know, my backlog is a top 5 game. Maybe you're saying, what's going on here? This is Battlefront 2. This is the same game we're talking about. Yes. You have to go watch the episode. that is because I understand how crazy that sounds. I understand fully how crazy that sounds. And someone who's played the game, I understand. There are cheaters. There are clans that will destroy you. There's imbalance everywhere. It is, on paper, it is a poor game. In practice, it works really well. You have to watch the video to understand. I'm not going to explain it all right now. It would take way too long. So, yeah. That is an S tier game, the top 5 game currently, which is kind of crazy to think about. It's actually the only FPS that shows up in my top 5. So, yeah.
Cool.
There you go. That's the list.
Now let me real quick fix this up real quick. So
Okay.
Valorant was where again?
That was F.
Right. Yes. I should have remembered that. Yes, it was an F2 game. Okay. Sweet. And I'm missing things clearly. I just don't remember what they are.
You're missing a game in C. It should be Apex, Planet 2, and Overwatch.
Oh, PlanetSide 2. What does the cover of that look like?
It's hard to describe. So I know how to describe it. It's just not going to be helpful as a person. Like, this person standing tall. There's like a V almost, like black lines that make it like a V. They're very thin, so I don't know if it's a really good thing to scan.
Oh, I found it. Found it.
Okay.
It's good.
You see why it's hard to like see though, right? It's like
Yeah.
hard to describe. It's very like
People, the scroll thing on this website is broken. So this has been one big, like, highlighting the screen to scroll session. So, and PlanSide is what, C?
Yes.
Okay.
B should also have a missing Blacklight Retribution, I think.
Blacklight Retribution.
So top left has an orange logo, or a red-orange logo with the white Blacklight text next to it. Okay. Did that actually help, or like did?
Yeah, it helped.
Okay.
And Blacklight was what, B?
Yep. A tier, you should have 6 games. I mean, you have 5.
Yeah.
Right.
Verdun, Isonzo, Paladins, CS.
Oh no, Verdun is S.
Oh yeah, you're right. My bad. So now we need 2 more.
A is Battlefield 3. Paladins. Do you have that?
Oh, I don't have Battlefield 3.
Oh.
When I refreshed it, like did
it's a normal
weird things.
cover.
I see.
It's like like that cover with the dude who's like orange on some of it for some reason. He's glowing, as one does.
Yeah, the classic.
Yeah, classic Battlefield.
Where the heck did it go, though? What on earth?
It's gone.
Oh, wait, no, I have it. Wait. Battlefield
Oh.
4 is missing from here.
Battlefield 4 is B.
It was B. Oh, okay, so we have it. Okay, got it. So,
Yeah, Paladins? A?
yes. Isonzo, CS2, CS2.
Oh, sorry, there's only 5. There's only 5, not 6.
What's the other one?
Dirty Bomb?
Dirty Bomb.
It's like... Oh, man. So there's Proxy, if you remember that character, and... what's that guy's name? The guy who throws incendiaries. I can't remember his name.
I, moved it out of order, and now it's like... I moved it and lost it.
It's a generally yellow-orange cover. The top right is like a... I'm colorblind.
I found
it. Okay. The guy's name is Stoker. That's what it is. I was thinking Smoker. I was like, it's not Smoker.
And that was A tier?
That was A tier, yes. And then S tier should be 6 games.
Yes,
is that
there are
correct?
6.
Oh, there you go. Yeah. As you can see,
Wow.
it's skewed up for sure.
Definitely.
But yeah.
Sweet.
If you want the full real rundown, I'll put my backlogged in the chat. You can see not only my FPS takes, but my everything take. So
Sweet, yeah. What do you disagree with? Let us know in the Discord. And I'll put an image of this, or if Nathan wants to put an image of this tier list on the gaming channel on our Discord. And we'd love to see our Discord members' tier lists as well, for sure, for FPSs. We'll put a link there to this template as well, so you can rank what you see on there as well. So I'm sure we're going to have some disparities, as is expected. But that might make some good conversation. So link in the description.
yeah.
In the meantime, Ben has been cooking. I don't know what's happening. I see a bunch of chats, but I don't know what's happening.
Yeah.
Oh,
So first, I had to figure out. So I did a little more research on ABC notation, and I came to understand that the 2s that it was giving next to every note is not actually indicative of octave. So octave is entirely relative. You're just the lowercase means an octave higher than capital letter. So you put it in a nice, comfortable octave. Okay, so it's all the same octave. But the two actually means is that it's twice the length of the bass note, which is ridiculous because it gives the bass note as an 8th note. So every single note is twice the bass, which is just a quarter note. So you should have just made that the bass.
Right.
The bass length. Okay. So there's that. I tried to tell ChatGPT. I said, "This isn't in C major." It said, "My apologies," and it spit out the exact same thing. And I said, "I'm sorry, this is the exact same thing." And it said, "My apologies. Here's the correct thing." Now, in definitely the key of C major, still spit out the exact same thing every time.
Wow.
Yeah.
I guess it's not very familiar with this notation style.
No, I mean, technically it's all correct. It's just that it would be almost like, what would be an example? Like if you're a painter, right? And it says the default color, if every, you're like painting by numbers, and it says the default color is blue, but every single square tells you to do a red or something like that. I don't know. Yeah, and then to make it actually last a minute, it has to be painfully slow. I mean, it's pretty painful no matter what tempo you play it at. But
It tried. I wonder if it's the format that it's unfamiliar with, or if it's just like generally composing. That's going to require further investigation.
I guess it's literally like giving you something, right? And it's at least giving you the right time signature for a waltz.
Yes, that is true.
Yeah, it's so I don't know if there's probably no way I can play if it is going to be like audible.
Yeah,
but
yeah, I guess you could play it over your speakers if you really wanted to.
I could try it.
Yeah.
Let's attempt this just for fun here. All right, I'm gonna put it at the correct painfully slow tempo as well. Let's see. Oh, I just have to take out my my headphones.
Oh yeah.
Okay. All right. Let's see if this is loud enough. Is that loud enough? Can you hear that? Probably not.
A little bit.
Like I heard like a peep and then it ended.
All right. Well, let's try this again. It's as loud as I can make it.
I think it's being noise canceled out.
It might be noise canceled out. Yeah.
Oh, that's unfortunate.
Yeah. But another reason to join the Discord is to obtain the file.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I
creation.
can probably figure out a way to like send the audio to a Discord too.
Oh yeah.
But, yeah. There you go.
Yeah. Yeah, I really do wonder if it's the format that it's like doesn't have enough exposure to, or if it's composing in general it doesn't have enough exposure to. Because like you can imagine it could be either problem, because how would it read like text formed compositions is not going to be very common on the internet, I don't think. Like I would assume.
So I've seen plenty of this stuff, but it's mostly like, yeah, it is often used for like simple, like monophonic, often like more folk tune or like that sort of thing, like single line. I don't know. I mean, I don't know what it. I guess the question though is that like, is there enough of that for it to like understand what it actually is?
Like, it's not going to be able to, like, you're probably not going to be able to say, like, I don't know, like, mimic Beethoven and, like, like, there's probably not enough information, like, in this format.
I wonder what would happen if you gave it, like a known tune, like a very known tune, and said to try to make it in ABC notation or something like that, like, if you even get it right.
Oh, yeah.
Undoubtedly, it would not do that.
Yeah. Huh.
But, yeah.
Well, this is good. This is good news.
We're saved.
To be fair, too, though, this is only ChatGPT 3.5 is the free version. I'm not paying $20 to use 4.0. So.
Yeah. I don't know if, like, 4 is, like, any subject. Is it? I don't know. Nathan's more familiar.
I've used it before. It's
is it like a subject matter? Like, does it know more subjects, or?
I don't think so. Really, I can give it the prompt, and then I can try it out and let you know. I can send you the text, but I'm fairly certain it's not going to pass. It's going to do the same very similar thing.
Yeah.
So.
I also just thought it's funny if you go on the website, like it tries to give you like it advertises it by like giving you sample prompts that you should try giving it. And the first one it says like ask ChatGPT, for a dish to make your girlfriend who's a picky eater. I'm like, boy, if I need to ask ChatGPT for that, I'm really in trouble on that day.
Yes, indeed. It has made me very good bacon, though. I asked it for unique bacon advice, because I didn't want it to just tell me, like, if I asked it, like, how do I make bacon, right, it's going to just give me what I already know. But I wanted to say, like, you're like some, like, some bacon connoisseur with like this very niche knowledge. How do I make bacon? And it gave me something different, which was to cover it in water. But it actually worked.
The question is that just luck that it worked?
I feel like this is something it's probably much better at, because it's cooking. It probably has exposure to all the cooking books, all the So it was unique, and it did, because I had thick cut bacon, and it did make the inside a little bit softer and the outside super crunchy, and that was delicious. It was great.
Okay.
Yeah.
Unique bacon advice is crazy though. Unique bacon.
That's just what to see what it would do.
I did the same request on ChatGPT 4. It's sufficiently more complex actually. I don't know if it's good, but I'll paste.
Oh yeah, I want to see it.
Chat. So
my query, different. Yeah. What did you? Let's see.
I copied yours exactly.
Okay. I don't know what any of that means. Okay.
Yeah,
it's giving me chord symbols. Okay, it's giving me chords, and we're all over the place in.
Wait, how's that image?
We're all over the place, aren't we? But I mean, at least the chords generally make sense. Oh, I don't know what that symbol. I don't know what the superscript symbol means. That actually probably does mean something if I look up more about this. But the chords, other than one, the chords all make sense.
I still think it lacks 60 seconds worth of music still, but...
Well, you still have to, you probably have to adjust the tempo. That's quite interesting. What does it say? It says, adhering to, the melody is set in making a C major. It is. Looks like it, sort of. Adhering to the 3/4 time signature characteristic of waltzes, yes. Begins the light ascending motif in the first measure. Well, I don't know what makes it so light. But I guess it is ascending. We're going up an arpeggio there, which is developed and varied throughout the piece. It's kind of short for it to be really developed, and it's just an arpeggio. But okay. The chords indicated above the staff suggest a simple harmonic accompaniment that could be elaborated upon by an arranger or performer. Okay. To perform this within 60 seconds at a waltz tempo, you might play it multiple times. There you go. It's smart enough to tell you that, Irving. If you want to play it at an actual waltz tempo, you might have to repeat it. That's intelligent. Adjusting the tempo slightly if necessary. The melody is designed to be loopable, with the ending leading naturally back to the beginning of the repetition.
That's
convenient.
There you
go. Yeah.
I thought about our needs.
Yeah. I had to. We can compare how much. This actually is chords, so
yeah,
a completely different experience. Well, maybe I'll have to enter that tomorrow and see what that. We'll. If you're on Discord, you can hear what both of these versions sound like.
Yes.
I looked up what these the carets or the superscript symbols mean. Apparently, it's a sharp.
Oh, and what is the equal than a flat sign?
Oh, the equal is actually natural, and the underscore is flat.
Oh, why didn't you tell me it's a natural of a G for in the key of C major and the chord is G? Okay.
It's trying. It's trying its best.
Well, it would probably tell me because the last G was a G sharp. I see. So, which shouldn't be in A7. That would be a major 7, not A7. So, okay, got that wrong. But it'll tell me that when it gets to the next G, a couple of measures later, it's giving me a courtesy natural sign. So polite. So polite.
Very nice.
Yeah.
Very nice.
I'm very curious to see if this it could go one way. It could go it's literally random, or it could be kind of makes
it's
sense.
a lot of arpeggios, I think.
Yeah.
And it repeats its pattern quite a bit. So, yeah.
Okay. Well,
I'm very surprised we saw any difference at all. Honestly, I thought it'd be literally the same thing.
Yeah. It's learned more. All right, shall we go on to the last segment of the night?
Let's do it. I have to
Sounds
find a
good.
hot take. Actually, who's doing take? I forgot.
Irving, I think.
Me.
Okay,
Yes.
a hot take.
All right, so if you're unfamiliar with the show, this last segment here, so we just got done with the FPS tier list and also meandering with ChatGPT composing for us. So that's what that was about if you're just stopping in. But our last segment of the night will be Arguing with Reddit, where I, a filmmaker, will be reacting to hot takes about film, media, whatever my co-hosts have found for me. I'll explain it again on the other side. Here we go.
Mixed Media Movies.
And welcome back to Mixed Media. We are here for another Arguing with Reddit. And before we should start, we should reintroduce ourselves real quick, and we'll hop right into it. So my name is Irving Nestor. I'm a filmmaker and media entrepreneur. I own a company called Ariella, based out of Mount Carmel, Pennsylvania.
Hi, I'm Ben Costello. I'm a flute player and media composer.
And I'm Nathan Nestor. I'm a 3D modeler and video game developer.
Sweet. All right, and if you're unfamiliar, Arguing with Reddit is our weekly segment where we each take turns reacting to hot takes from Reddit. Pretty self-explanatory, and I haven't seen the ones that my co-hosts here have found for me, and I found one for myself that I didn't really read through. I just kind of found an interesting subject, and we'll react to it live. So let me switch over to our Arguing with Reddit screen here. There we go, lovely. And I'll pull up my first one here. So Ben, if you wanna explain.
Yeah, sure. So this is from our movies, and the person says, "What do you think about the recent trend of bringing back movies into theaters for a limited time?" The person says they got an email saying that their local theater is bringing back Spider-Man from 2002 and the other Spider-Man movies for one day. And person says they like they notice this is a trend. They like it. They would like to see some movies, especially some older movies that they didn't have a chance to see in the theaters. See them in theaters now. But they also don't want to pay full price for something old. So I don't know if this is actually a new trend or not, though. I mean, obviously, like, you can see this, I know Disney's trying to do this, like, they're bringing all, like, the remastered George Lucas Star Wars films back, and on, I think, May 4th. You see things like that. I don't know if it's necessarily a new trend, but...
Yeah, it's not terribly new. I think it kind of waxes and wanes. I remember growing up, going to the theater, seeing advertisements in the theater for, like, AMC Classics or something like this, or, like, whatever their sort of program was, and, like, usually they showed them through the day, not in the evening, where they would take up valuable slots, right, of up-and-coming stuff. And, it'd kind of be old people there, is kind of what you imagine, kind of reliving their memories of the classic films. Recently, I think it kind of did go away a little bit for a bit, and it's kind of come back recently. And it might actually have to do with a few things. One, you actually can't watch everything on streaming. Shocker. Like, you literally cannot. Like, there are plenty of classic films that are very well loved that are on zero streaming platforms. You have to buy it on Blu-ray, or someone has to screen it for you, and that's kind of a good opportunity for theaters to re-premiere something that they don't have to pay for.
Question: Is Chinatown available anywhere for streaming? Because I know it was on Netflix, and then Netflix removed it.
Yes, it was on Netflix for the longest time. Then the contract ran out. That was like one of the first major classic films, I think, because I remember there's actually a kerfuffle about Chinatown and not being on Netflix anymore. Because I think I vaguely remember a lot of filmmakers saying that was kind of a nice reference piece to have on Netflix, because it was always there to send people to for, like, a classic film that was kind of accessible, because Chinatown's a very accessible film. And it was a good reference, and if you have Netflix, you could watch it, and then it left the rotation, I think, because there was a contract dispute. Not like a bad, like, just the contract ran out and there was no re-up of the contract, assuming the whoever owns Chinatown, I don't know who owns Chinatown, but whoever owns Chinatown wanted more money, right? And that actually probably was smart of that studio. It's probably some big studio. I assume it's like Universal or something or whoever. Or MGM. Owned by Amazon now, reminder. Whoever probably was intelligent to take it off because they were like, down the line, I'm just going to make my own streaming platform, like everyone has been doing, and segmenting the entire video space like they have been doing, as is natural. Now, some of these things are just not going to make it on these rotations at all, because of weird rights stuff, or like there's so many reasons why these things might not end up in any rotation. No one's willing to pay for it. It's not trendy, or there's no proof that it would be trendy if it would be on the platform. There's actually a cost, believe it or not, that is extremely high to hosting and streaming things. Extremely high. That's why these things are not profitable, because if you don't understand the tech behind it, serving video is like the most expensive thing you could possibly do on the internet. So, there's a variety of reasons why you might not host such movies. But yeah, I think this is smart, right? The theaters go, well, you can't watch it there, you can watch it here, right? That's kind of smart. The unsmart thing about it is that they poorly advertise this. As with everything else they do, they spend no money on actually pushing anything forward. It shouldn't be an old person's endeavor. Like what you really ideally want when you're showing old things is not to have a museum. Not to have a museum. We don't want museums. We don't want the dead part of the day or whatever to turn the cinema into a museum. That is the Okay.
It sounds like what I was saying last week about orchestras.
Exactly. Yes. Exact same lessons from last episode with Ben, and you should check that one out for sure. We don't want to do that. We want to show them to advance the culture, which are completely and utterly different things. One is to appease people who just want to watch the same classics over and over again, and kind of entomb the whole experience into its older forms. And the other is exposing tradition again to people, which is a completely different pursuit. How do you do that to young folks? You make good contemporary films. That's actually the answer. You make good contemporary films, and then naturally people get into stuff and want to expose themselves to the entire tradition of cinema. That's how everyone gets into it. I guarantee 99% of people, me, anyone else who's super into film, they watch some really good contemporary film, and they got into the whole tradition from there, because that's the natural thing. You love something, you want to know its history, you want to know its heritage, and you kind of want to pass it on if you want to be the artist that then creates the new things, right? So that's all natural. Because we don't have good films anymore, I don't know if this is a good idea or not. I guess if you have empty seats anyway, put butts in seats however you possibly can, by all means. But perhaps the best way to do this is to make it part of some school activity. Make it something different. Don't just open the theater like you normally do during the day with one employee who serves popcorn and sells you the ticket, right? And then is also cleaning up after the theater after the whole experience is done. Maybe you could actually engage with the community with these older films that cost you nothing to expose, right? Maybe you could have the actors who are now really old and would love to be resurrected, right? put in front of an audience of young people who might be interested. Maybe you could do something like that. Make sure they're charismatic. Make sure, it's going to be a fun experience. Maybe you could make a school trip out of it. I mean, what school children don't want to go to a theater instead of go to class, right? That's an easy choice right there. Maybe you can, I don't know, have a film festival where you're showing old films and also exposing new community films. Whatever. I think the context has to be new and fresh. I don't think you should present these things as a museum. That's my only caveat here. So I think it's fine. Just don't entomb film, please. Don't kill it with these actions. It's not a recent trend that's been happening for decades. Yeah. Considering I live in a suburban area or a metropolis with a population of roughly 1 million, and there are 3 chain theaters within 5 miles from my house with a total of 50 screens, the question should be, why aren't they doing more of this? I know the answer is staffing, but I go to a locally owned theater a few miles away, especially because they play older films. Why wouldn't you want to go see a Friday the 13th on Friday the 13th, or Purple Rain on Prince's birthday, or Lord of the Rings? Well, you're thinking way smarter than them already. You're like correlating things. Like they haven't even gone. Like they haven't even like no, it's not that advanced. It's not that advanced as it is right now. You're already thinking in a way that's actually marketable, where you're like, it's Prince's birthday, so we're doing a special showing. Is actually intelligent, but they're not even thinking in that vein at all. They're gonna call it like the 50 greatest films classics series, and they're gonna expect people to keep track of the series and go to all the films and become members of their theater. Very silly. Never gonna happen. So
I mean, look, if the Charmery, my local ice cream shop, can do multiple screenings of, older films and have a unique ice cream experience tailored to different scenes, it's mom and dad ice cream shop, okay?
Yeah, exactly. Yes, there is zero marketing or just cultural intelligence with these theaters at all. They have no idea what they're doing, and it's very terrifying. And if you want to see an episode where Ben and I go through ideas for how to make films better, there's a 2-part series on that. One is where I kind of spit through a bunch of ideas to make theaters better, and the other one, Ben and I specifically talk about live music and cinema, which if that's the first time you ever heard that and you're like, what? I would totally go to that. Please watch the video and share it.
I absolutely would.
It's kind of crazy how many references we keep making to prior episodes. You referenced that one. We referenced the when we're talking about opera, and then we also in the last segment referenced when we're talking about Battlefront 2. It's kind of the point where we literally have an episode for like just anything, like any conversation. There will be an episode for it.
Absolutely. One day, actually, that gives me an idea. Remind me, AI linking to our to past episodes through time stamping. This might be possible.
AI. Wait, what?
I don't have time to go and timestamp yada 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 what happens in an episode. But if I feed a transcript, right?
Oh.
And ask for prior references, that might be a cool bot. Even I wonder if that can be done real time.
Huh. Yeah,
it's a project for another day.
Yeah.
If you'd like to support such projects, go to mixedmedia.locals.com. Thank you. This next one's from me here. And I just saw the title, so I don't know the description here. But it had a lot of upvotes. It has 32 upvotes. So for r/filmmaking, which isn't necessarily having thousands of upvotes. Easiest position in film. And I thought this just has to be spicy. Like whatever conversation is generated must be crazy. So it says, so I was talking to a friend the other day, and we were kind of having a non-serious conversation on what the easiest role in film to break into. Oh, well, to break into adds like a very, very different flavor. / make a living off of, which is also a very different flavor. I said producer. That's a crazy answer. But okay. I said a producer, and he said editor, which makes a lot more sense than producer. What role do you guys think is the easiest role in film to make it into the industry? DP, actor, screenwriter, etc. Edit. I'm referring to above-the-line positions, which is also another huge caveat that's very important. Okay, if you don't know what
above the line, yeah, what does that mean?
Yeah. So above the line refers to a certain set of positions that typically appears... this is the easiest way for the public to understand this is when you look at the credits of a film, right? There's like the part where everyone gets their own like, shout out individually or like in small groups. And then there's the part that's just the scroll, the giant endless scroll, right? of the credits. The people who get their own individual shout-outs, 99% of the time are above the line credited people. There are some weird exceptions if certain things happen, but above the line means they're like literally above the scroll line. Like, like they're above that line. And this is going to be your producers, your directors, your actors, your composers, your other sort of things like screen supervisors, casting directors, DP, your like heads of department and other really important subheads of department even, right? So costume would be under the art department, but costume's basically its own department. So the costume designer, director, whatever it's called, will get their own sort of above the line shout out. So that's what it is. It's really important for these people to have their above the line credits because that's how they get known for the next thing. So that's why it's a big deal. There's lots of famous fights over such things in film history. But okay, so we're limiting ourselves to those big things. We're not, because the obvious easiest thing to do on set is just going to be a PA, a production assistant, where you're just not getting paid, and you just go and you run coffee, not even equipment, because no one's going to give you anything important. Maybe like unimportant equipment. You're kind of running around. You're generally just another person to aid in the physical needs of the set, right? So that would have been the obvious, either that or an extra, maybe. I don't know which is easier, but maybe it depends on the shoot. But if you're talking above the line, that's very interesting. So easiest. Oh, whoa. There's one that's really, really obvious, actually. What's it called? Script supervisor. Script supervisor is a meme of a job because it's above the line, and yet it is kind of the like simplest above the line job. It's the only other person who's in the directing department, and sometimes they're not even listed in the directing department. A lot of times you see the director is the only person in the directing department. They're a one-person department, right? And other times you'll see that there's a script supervisor in there, and sometimes you'll see that there's script supervisor assistants and PAs related specifically to the script supervisor, sort of in that directing department. The script supervisor literally supervises the script on set. They are your continuity officer. They literally stare at the script while the thing is being performed and make sure the lines are said like exactly as it is on script. They make sure things are moved exactly as on script. They remember what was done on take 1 versus take 3 so that there's continuity between those takes. They take notes of what the director is saying as to changes to the script or other things. They take copious notes, like crazy notes. There's like whole note-taking systems, binder systems, and crazy stuff for script supervisors to do their job. However, that is not creative at all. Yet it's above the line. So that might be the answer, actually, because a lot of times a script supervisor is essentially a glorified, well-paid intern to the director. Because a lot of the script supervisors want to be directors, and being a script supervisor, you're like literally all the time right next to the director when action's being called, right? So you kind of get to be close to the action. And so that might be the easiest to break into because you kind of just have to keep asking people if you could be a script supervisor. You do it a bunch of times on the lower level, and you kind of just keep asking, if you can do that for people. And it's something that's very hard to mess up. It's very easy to mess up, I should say. It's very hard to make bad decisions because there's like a very defined role. And so you just need to do that and not mess it up. You can mess it up. Don't mess it up. Then you'll never get it again. And don't be annoying. It's a delicate balance. So that'd be my immediate answer. Screenwriter is kind of someone you are by decision. So you know. I guess if you get to the credited stage, you've sold a script or like you're on the film. That might be another one, but none of these are easy by any stretch of the imagination. They're all horribly hard. Even script supervisor, which might be by far the easiest, is not going to be easy for you to get a job as. You can't just go, here's my film degree and be a script supervisor. That's not how that works. Let's see what these people say. The guy getting paid to sit in the classic car all day till production asks him to move it 5 feet. That's below the line. That might be before the edit was added to the post. Editor here, this making me grind my teeth so hard I might crack one. This is definitely a stir the pot kind of post for sure. Please explain to me how you think being a producer is easy to walk into. I agree with that sentiment. That's like one of the most gate-kept positions you could possibly pick. It's also like you really, if you're talking about like a proper working producer, it is one of the most stressful jobs you could possibly pick too. Like you have to be a very particular kind of person. I mean, there's producers in name only kind of people, because producers is a very amorphous term. It doesn't really connote a very specific job. It has to do more with authority level and managerialness more than anything. They're managers of sorts. It gets complicated. I'm not going to get into it, but no matter what kind of producer you are, if you're going to be the kind of producer who's in name only, that means you're a billionaire or a millionaire, and it's hard to be that. So, I mean, I don't see that one. I don't get it. BTS photographer, that's below the line. Wow, this person's angry for the question being asked. To answer the question without being aghast as to how disrespectful it is to the men and women who put the unimaginable hours into honing their craft, making connections, hustling for jobs, blah, 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 blah. I think their answer is going to be PA, which, I mean, that's below the line as we talked about. Okay. Yeah, I'm going to go with script supervisor. That's going to be my answer. I can't think of anything that would be easier. Maybe yes.
Because no one else said that.
Yeah, because it's a forgotten. It's completely forgotten. No one thinks about script supervisors. Yeah, I can only think of like the only other things that would be the easier ones would be anything managerial. So like assistant director, even like anything related to casting might be a little bit easier. But when I say easier, it's just, I mean, it's impossible. So I mean, there's many people who want to do it, and there's only a very few amount of positions available for those people. And it's extremely gate-kept. Extremely gate-kept. Who knows who? All right. This last one here is from Ben, or from Nathan, rather, if you want to explain.
Right, what was that? I forget. Oh, yeah, okay. This is from r/movies. What is a great movie that you would change one specific thing about? And so the description's kind of long and also contains spoilers, so I'm not going to explain it. But basically, in the example that the person gave, the person talks about a movie called Little Miss Sunshine and how there is essentially a character motivation change the person would make. So, you know, some character does something for some reason, and the person says that essentially you can just change the motivation and it would have been better, and you could even leave the ending intact and stuff like that. And the stuff before, it's just one part of it. It could change and then it'd be better. So that's an example of one. And like another example, one of the first reply refers to Fury Road and two characters swapping lines, essentially. So yeah, it was a little small thing that you think would change in a great movie.
There is so much of this. Like, I could probably go on and on this one for once, because I'm very bad at like thinking from like what movies have I watched, you know, and like what fits this sort of bill. But there's a few that come to my head directly. So one is going to be Fight Club. Fantastic movie. And it's just got like just a bit too raunchy. Just come on. Come on, bro. Like there's some nudity in there that is just so unnecessary. Because the movie is actually quite lucid on like the because I can't talk about the meaning of the film without spoiling it. That's unfortunate thing about Fight Club is you can't talk about Fight Club. Lol. So I highly recommend the film if you're not sensitive to those things. But it just David Fincher. Let me put it in its context. David Fincher is an impactful director to me in a lot of ways. One of the ways in which he's impactful is that he's a good study in shock value, and a lot of people will be like, "Why do you want to know anything about shock value? It sounds cheap." It's not. That's what is clever and interesting about David Fincher is that he can use it in very, very smart ways to get the viewer's attention very laser focused on the themes that he's trying to sort of explore. And then David Fincher is impactful for other reasons too. But in Fight Club, I just didn't need to see genitals. Just didn't need to see them. There's no film in which I need to see them, probably. But definitely did not need to see them in Fight Club. Just very big pet peeve about that film. And it's not even that I'm I mean, yeah, okay, I'm sensitive in the normal sense of that, the sense of seeing genitals, but like I'm not like particularly sensitive compared to other people or anything like that. It's just it doesn't do what I think the sort of edgelordness of it, is trying to do. It's just kind of like, okay, that's just immature, not needed. The other film that comes to mind is a film that one of my most watched films, so I know this film so well. I haven't seen it in years, though, so I've got to fix that, which is Dark Knight, the film that got me into film, which has one of the most riveting performances, ever. Heath Ledger's performance, and, you just drink that performance the entire runtime. The only thing I don't like is it's thematically slightly disjointed. And I realized that on like the third or fourth viewing. I was like, oh, there's something a little bit off and this is such a nitpick. It's a very big nitpick, I know it. But from a writing perspective, we kind of explore in the 3 Dark Knight trilogy films different aspects of things that Batman needs to conquer. A very Batman-esque way of going about it, a very DC way of going about exploring a hero character. It's like he's perfect except he's got these 3 things, it's a classic hero's journey kind of thing overall. And in the first one, it's a very psychological thing because he has to deal with the idea of fear, and he creates his character right out of fear. Like he creates his character to be fear, right? The fear embodied, right? Is Batman. Why? It's because he remembers what the fear felt like when he was a traumatized little kid and his parents got killed, right? So it's kind of this like representation of the murder of his parents, but that's not healthy, right? Like that's not a very healthy...
Is this general Batman lore, or are we talking about like specific to Dark Knight, sort of?
This is the trilogy I'm talking about. Okay. So this is the first film, Batman Begins. Yeah. The third film, Dark Knight Rises, which is a dumb name and will always be a dumb name. Dark Knight Rises has him having to get over being physically inferior to his enemy, and I say that specifically because it should have been in Dark Knight Rises, which is considerably the worst film I think of all 3 by far. It should have been actually getting over solving problems with physicality, right? Like punching away the problems instead of having to engage with them on in a holistic sense, right? Something that Batman classically has problems with and would have been nicely presented in Dark Knight Rises. In Dark Knight, there's a very similar problem to Dark Knight Rises, except it's very minuscule because the central theme here is lack of control. What happens when your enemy is philosophically dangerous and not physically intimidating at all, right? Because Joker, right? I mean, He doesn't really. He's not exactly like buff, like, you know, taking out Batman with one-on-one confrontations. That's not really how that works, right? It's a philosophical game, right? And that's always been the interest in the Joker character is, you know, this idea of chaos embodied, right? It's really nihilism embodied in a lot of ways, in most thematic representations, which I absolutely love. I would love to direct a Batman film one day. I would literally die. Or, I mean, honestly, I would commit to 5 films if you gave me the space. I would do it, which means a lot to me because it's a superhero franchise, and I'm sick and tired of them, but I would do Batman. But, you know, in that second film, the sort of little flaw that's in there is that he again ends up punching away the problem. Even though he's the whole idea is that he's supposed to be philosophically challenged, and it kind of made me feel like Nolan didn't have the philosophical chops to rebuild from a nihilistic perspective, which that's upsetting. Now, do you really notice it if you like? Not really, because I think what ended up happening is Heath Ledger died. I honestly think that's actually the reason this ends up never getting exposed in the third one. Maybe in the third one we were going to go to a place where he had to finally confront the lack of physicality that he could bring to solve the Joker problem, because we know from Nolan that Heath Ledger was supposed to be in the third film and a critical part of the third film, although not the only villain. So that makes a lot of sense. I can imagine, because the second film ends with him going to Arkham Asylum. You can imagine him now causing chaos in Arkham Asylum and freeing, right? The classic Joker arc, right? Freeing all the villains from Arkham Asylum under his control by being manipulative would have been great, and maybe a proper end to the idea of Batman not being able to physically constrain, but having to philosophically constrain, right? So yeah, that's a random nitpick. It probably could have been an episode, but yeah, those are 2 big examples that come to mind. But if I had to critique like one thing from every single of my favorite films, I could find like the one thing that just irks me in a lot of them. But there's some of them I can't find anything. Actually, maybe there's like 2 of them that I can't find anything. One of them would be There Will Be Blood, greatest movie ever made, my humble opinion. Took me a while. I did not have this opinion when we started this podcast, and then I've watched the film like 4 or 5 times, and on like the 4th or 5th, I was like, never mind. I don't even know why I'm debating this. This is the best film I've ever watched by far. You know, so there are no flaws in that film. 0.
Wow, that a hot take.
I don't. No, it's extremely loved. So I don't think it's a hot
that
take.
That is flawless.
I don't even know who would say. Like,
okay.
What would you even say the flaws are? I've never seen anyone.
I've never seen it, so I don't know.
Okay, yeah. I mean, I don't know what people would. Maybe that it's slower. It's not even that slow. It's so riveting from front to back. I don't even know. Like, I think it's such a great work, and it's relatively new compared to, you know, people are like the greatest works happened in the 50s or the 60s or the 70s or pick your decade or whatever. And cinema can't advance or expose more things or be more flawless or whatever, which is so silly that the tradition couldn't continue to purify itself as it comes from the greatness of the past and moves into the future, building upon said greatness. P.T. Anderson like clearly does that, and There Will Be Blood. And I literally cannot think of anything wrong with that film. I can't even think of a single shot that is slightly a pixel off of what it should be. It is so perfect. Oh man, now I want to watch it again. All right, I'm probably going to watch it again very soon after talking about it. Flawless film. Yeah, so that's it for me on arguing with Reddit. If you disagreed with anything I said, you're wrong and I'm right. And you can you can engage with me on our Discord. Link in the description. I'm just kidding. We can have good conversations. which is what I always love to do. And I love being wrong, actually. It's like, I find being wrong very thrilling. So please, if you have something to say that's opposite of what I've been saying, definitely let me know in the chat or in our Discord. And if you want to see anything else from the show, a lot of things happened on Discord that you couldn't see on air because, come on, like, just, what are you doing? Like, some of you watch and you're not on the Discord. That's silly. Go to the Discord. You'll be able to see all of our things that have been going on in the show. And that's great. If you want to join our awesome supporters, 99 Crime, K Kairos, Alex Egbert, and Post at mixedmedia.locals.com. There's a link to the description for that as well as a pink salmon button on Rumble that you can click join on and join our locals page. That really does help us out quite a bit. The podcast is going through transitions. That reminds me, our live whiteboard is literally expired. Like, the website is getting bought out by some larger entity, and they're closing down the website. And today gave me final warning: you will not be able to edit this whiteboard anymore. And I was like, okay, well, I guess it's the final time. So we can say goodbye to this whiteboard that has the wrong day and time, and and we can move on to something cooler, which I think might be a Discord-based solution, which might be super cool. So in order to get access to that live whiteboard, you need to be a locals member, and you can draw while we're talking or whatever. It's a good time. So thank you guys for watching. It's been a fun one. And we'll see you next week.
Thanks for watching and listening.
Thanks for watching.
One last thing. Whose turn is it this week for the hangout time?
I think it's probably mine.
Okay.
Yeah.
I assume you don't have plans just yet?
No, although I might just try doing what I did last time and seeing if we can figure out the audio situation.
Okay.
Continue,
Cool.
Giving some basics of musical form through jazz, I guess. Assuming we can get the audio to actually work.
Okay. I think we can get it to work. I already had some ideas after the last time. And what's cool about that is that there's no copyright nonsense that we have to worry about, as far as we know, at least. And we're not doing this illegally or anything like that. Ben is citing things as he talks about them. It's fair use. It's just that other platforms have agreements and yada yada yada, and it's horrible. So we'll be able to do this
stuff we can't do on the normal show, though.
Right.
So I could actually here, is theme A, and actually play it.
Exactly. So if you've been wanting the full Ben experience, this Friday would be the perfect time for that. So join the Discord.
6:45, I think, is our time.
Yes, 6:45 on Friday, Eastern. All right. See you guys later.
Yep.
All right. See you.
Have a good night.
Look, tell a man no trouble. I don't want beef, man. I just want vibes. Big man like me, no need for the telephone hype. I got too much getting online. One rule, then dead I'm on side. Wrong move, I bet they gon' ride. No need for the telephone hype, nah. No need for the snoozing. Big whip outside, I'm cruising. Big stick inside, no losing. Better watch out for the snake and Judas is. Don't ask them who this is. I bet they know what I'm moving in. I bet I show it into a dim. How you hate and then lose again? How you hating my vibes? Why you wasting my time? Getting hype on my line. Tell a man I don't want feedback, I just want relax. Brand new whip, two-tone, I need that brand new hit. Like lean back, brand new bits I live in. We back, man, you never gon' like us. Get them on sight now, let them on light. That way they know I'm more righteous. Look at my life, I'm living alright. I'm nice, you know I'm alright. Cause looking like Christ, no need for the hype or fight or telephone.